Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 1 versus 1 on Vertigo, and I'm going to be using the 35th Guards Air Assault Brigade. I'm up against Uncle Sam, or Ajoor, once again, who's going to be using the 2nd Panzergrenadier Division in this one. So this is game 3 of a best of 5 in the semi-finals of the WARNO League Season 0 Division 2. If you don't want spoilers for the first 2 games, make sure to go check them out. That is your warning. I won the first 2 games, so we're 2-0 up in the series so far. The last game was a extremely close game, so coming into this, I was definitely worried that I might lose a game or 2 in the series, and yeah, that wasn't great. But I ended up on the 35th Guards Air Assault, which is a division that I'm quite familiar with and quite comfortable on, so that was really nice. Uncle Sam, he chose the 2nd Panzergrenadier. Now this was a division that I'm really not familiar playing with, or against, even in 1v1. So I didn't really know what to expect. I went through the deck a little bit to see what might happen, but yeah, I wasn't really sure going in. Anyway, in terms of the picks and bans, I banned the 39th Guards because in the last game he played it really well, and on a map like Vertigo it can be very strong, especially since you've got like the BMP3s with like long range HGMs, and then you've got also plenty of armor and stuff that can be utilized in the open ground. You've got plenty of decent AA. There's plenty of good things that are good about the 39th on Vertigo. So I managed to get rid of that. And then he banned KDA again, which I think he had every game so far. And then he chose the 2nd Infantry, the 2nd Panzergren, and then I picked the 35th into his 2nd Panzergren. So, let's have a quick look at what's going down. On the left side here, just an assortment of infantry. We've got some Desaniki BMDs in the BMD2s. I've got a couple of these SPGs hanging about. We've got some Spetsnaz OP, some Spetsnaz, some Desaniki Metis. I've got the Desan Razvedka, Desan Igler in the Skrezet early on, and I did double command at the start. I've got 2 of these Desant trucks that are going to be holding these sectors right from the start. So that's going to give me a nice boost, and I know that I can take advantage of that because with this division you do get forward deployment leaders, and also like the 2nd Panzergren don't. So I'm able to get myself a quick early point lead that I was hoping that I'd be able to utilize throughout the game if it does go to the long run, because Vertigo is a map that quite often ends in like a stalemate between Delta and Alpha, or it just like swings one way where one player controls one and one player controls the other, or something like that. Either way, it remains relatively balanced. I've got an SPG-9 zooming up on the right hand side with the Desan Razvedka, Spetsnaz OP with the Desaniki Metis, and a 2nd SPG-9 there. So this Desaniki Metis is going to be going into this building to cover the open. I've got a bunch of infantry unloading on this side, and the SPGs are going to be rushing ahead. So I'm sitting on the +6, I'm getting a big lead early on. I'm into the buildings here nice and quickly. He hasn't really brought anything to counter that, like he doesn't get any like forward deployment, so relatively happy. My SPG-9s are going to be stopping his Unimogs and forcing him to unload. He does kill those with the Lux and with the Milan 2s and so on. My Desaniki going to clean up the rest, but I've got to take care of this Lux A1 that's currently just zooming straight up in the middle of the map. So I'm going to be buying a Su-25 cluster. Now he does bring in one of the Genas that's going to be dropping its bombs onto the Desaniki Metis, and he's also brought in the rocket variant that's going to be taking out one of my vehicles, or one of my units, and almost killing the 2nd. And he's going to be following that up with another push here. But yeah, Su-25 going to be looking for the strafing run onto the Lux. End up just dropping the bombs on that instead. And we're going to be trying to strafe the Milan 2 to death. Now I'm going to turn into the Tornado to see if I can trade that at least. Unfortunately, he gets away on 1 HP. That was sad. So I lose my Su-25, I don't kill the Milan 2, and yeah, that was a pretty bad trade for me because all I killed was the Lux in the end. And on this right hand side, he's now got the Leopard 1A5 zooming forwards with the Marders, and this Aniki's just trying to do its best to hold the line, but another of the GR91s coming in and taking that out. Now this is a aircraft I didn't really count on him using very much throughout this game, but as you can see already, he's brought in 3 of them. So we're going to be seeing plenty more of that. Su-25 coming in, going to be getting rid of his infantry best I can. Unfortunately, it didn't kill the Marder there, or the Panzergren Marder, but I do manage to kill one of the GR91s at least. And on this left-hand side, the Desarniki Metis with the Skrezets are dealing with the Pioneers here. Going to be getting my Spetsnaz to run across there and join them, because I've got a really good position on this left side, but he's managed to push me out of the right side. So he definitely invested here early on, I invested here. He's going to be bringing in another GR91 though with the bombs, looking for the kills onto the Desarniki Metis. Those bombs aren't very big, so not doing too much damage there, and I'm able to continue to push forwards. Yeah, I really do need to deal with him in this tree line. I can't let him just sit here for the rest of the game. So going to be bringing up a T-64BV. I've got a couple of BMB-D2s. I've got the Mi-8 that's going to be able to spot the units for me. The only thing that I'm obviously lacking is AA. Now, one thing that the 35th doesn't really have much of, or at least decent wise, is AA. Like no decent AA. You're reliant very heavily on Iglas and the Skrezets, and also like Afghanskis and stuff like that. So, like Barusas, I think they get as well. The other thing that you'd have to do is use MiG-29s, and I just bought a MiG-29 so that I can stop more of the airplay in the future potentially. But with his Tornado getting away from my Su-25, that is kind of annoying, because I would have liked to have been at an advantage when it came to the air-to-air engagements at this point. But the GR coming in there with the bombs, second GR coming in with the rockets, and that one able to get away from a Skrezet and the Igla. Another GR91 coming in, another one coming in with the bombs. He has a lot of these. I'm going to be able to shoot down one of them at least with the Su-25, and my Su did get some nice strafing in here. We're going to be getting the bombs onto the Marder. I did strafe this as well. So that was a pretty good strike for the Su-25 so far. Now my Mi-8 can be moving forwards. I've got another Su-25 on the way. BMD-2s and T-64 are almost here. So yeah, things are not too bad, but I'm not happy about this sort of like GR91 spam that's been happening so far. He's been using a lot of them, and like I wasn't really sure going into this what the second Panzergren had up its sleeve, but I've now found out, and having picked the 35th into this like sort of air strategy is not ideal, because it's generally going to mean that I need to have my MiG-29s hanging about so that I can shoot down his aircraft should he choose to use them. But as soon as my MiG-29s go off the field, he has sort of like a time in which he can push forwards with his GR91s, and he will use them as soon as my MiG-29s are off the field, because my Iglas probably aren't going to be like good enough really to shoot down the unit convincingly. Like the GR91s and the Harrier here are also going to be able to take out my Mi-8, which is kind of annoying because I was using that to scout for my BMDs and the Desarniki BMD. The MiG-29 going to make short work of the Harrier anyway, and that's going to have to leave as it used up most of its air-to-air missiles. I love a MiG-29 though. Every time I play with them, you just got to admire them a little bit. I managed to get back into this tree line anyway. Desarniki pushing out the Panzergrens, BMD-2s providing good fire support, so that's all good. Like I'm happy that I've got back in on the right side at least, but the aircraft situation is not great, and potentially I should have invested into more Iglas at this point just to prevent more of the GR91s from being a problem. But I think I just opted into the air play, where I was using a lot of Su-25s myself as well, and trying to, you know, kill them with MiG-29s. Now the BMD-2 Not having a fun time against the Marder. The Marder 1A3, very, very good armoured vehicle. My SU-25 completely missing the strafing run there. Does take a hit from one of the Fliegerfaust. The Fliegerfaust are pretty trash AA. They've only got 35% accuracy, so they do miss a lot. But M48 has come in on the left side, and my Spetsnaz doesn't have any AT. And this was when I realised that I really don't have much AT here left anymore. Just 3 units of Spetsnaz, and then the Spetsnaz OP, which is going to take out the Scorpion for me. But things looking pretty bleak on the left, and I haven't taken back control of the right, and he's ticking a +2. So yeah, things really not looking good. I am going to opt to bring in the T-64 BV, but I was just kind of worried that by using this, he's going to just use some aircraft to kill it. The BMD-2 doing its best to take out Citadungs, Spetsnaz as well. I'm going to be moving them out of the building after they die so that the M48 and the Marder 1A3 can't kill me there. Got a couple Desaniki Metis moving up to kind of hold the open ground, and I've got a Spetsnaz Komlotti that's going to be trying to counter-cap this right side sector. I've also got the Desant leader coming in on the left side to cap this. Maybe not the best time to bring it, but yeah, nice cluster strike there. Then strafe the Fliegerfaust straight afterwards, so that was all good. And the T-64 BV going to be moving aggressively to try and engage the Marder 1A3. He's going to pretty much instantly countercap this left side. It is going to be this armoured CV rolling in. So I'm hoping that my T-64 BV can make some ground at least. And it is going to be able to take one shot at the Leopard 1A5. Finds the second one. Leopard 1A5 goes down. Now we're going to be looking for the second 1A5. And that's going to be smoking itself off. We managed to take out the truck that unloads that infantry. And while with the T-64 BV at my back, the Spetsnaz is going to be pushing forwards once again. This BMD-2 moving across to engage the Jaegers. So I need to get this unloaded. Again, being a bit lax on my unloaded position commands with the leader in this case. Should be unloaded there. T-64 BV on the left. Already taken one hit now. In a bit of a rough situation because he's got the Marder on the left and his Leopard 1A5s are hitting when I'm missing, which is obviously really bad. Thankfully I do manage to take out that one at least, but my Spetsnaz are going to pay the price for having no AT on the left side. And it was the T-64 BV that was supposed to be covering this, but of course, you know, the engagement with the armor in the open stopped my BV from covering those. So he made a good job of exploiting that engagement. I'm now going to be investing into a Nonna. The Nonna here is going to be useful in a couple ways. One, of course, to hit enemy like 8 gems, or in this case I'm going to go for his leader here. But also for smoke. Very good for smoking off any infantry if I want to make a little bit of a play in the open with my infantry. Particularly something like the Spetsnaz OP that might want to get a couple shots onto these units but doesn't want to engage the Jaeger, for example. But yeah, throughout the game they're mainly going to be used as artillery, and I think they're quite efficient artillery. Anyway, Desaniki Metis going to be moving across the open. A little bit overzealous of me, like maybe I shouldn't be like rushing the push here. Bringing in like another T-64 or having like some BMD-2s to help me out would have been perfect for helping dig out this this Jaeger here that's currently in cover. But the GR-91s coming in again for the bombing strikes. I managed to dodge with the Spetsnaz. Those bombs were off target already, so that was fine. My MiG gonna be trying to shoot these down. The one on the left came back around, so looking to shoot that one down. He brings up the Tornado though to counter my MiG-29 and pulls it away, so that's okay. MiG-29 will survive. Spetsnaz OP under pressure by the Jaeger. Desaniki Metis did make it a long way on this right hand side, but the GR-91 with its rockets going to be slapping that Desaniki about. And they're not going to be long for this world. Yeah, if I just had like a couple of BMDs here, this would have been very different. Because I would have been able to like kill this Jaeger at least. Like the M48s back here would have obviously caused issues. And there was an Ace gem in here. So maybe my armored command or my armored unit would have been killed off on the right hand side. But yeah, anyway. Going to be trading my Su-25 for the Tornado. I wasn't too unhappy about that. I was, however, unhappy that his F4F comes in and bombs my T-64 because one of my T-64s is already dead here. His aircraft are just running all over my infantry right now. And the T-64 was kind of the main thing that was stopping him from getting overly aggressive. So losing that kind of like puts me completely out of sync on that left-hand side. But going to be going for this GR91, managed to take that out. MiG-29s being beast as ever. Gotta love them. Finally getting hit by the Gepard there. Now, one thing I did do with my deck in this is I added in the Seed aircraft so that I could take care of his Gepards and stuff throughout the game, because the Germans rely almost solely on radar AA. So Seed aircraft are actually really valuable. So you'll see me utilize that later on. But for now, I can't really afford to bring one of those in, because I am losing a lot of space on the ground. And with both my BMDs like unloading and moving over to the left, the Thessaloniki BMDs on the right are left out in the open. I'm also going to be losing my aircraft there to the Tornado again. So things not great. Like, he has a lot of aircraft. Look, F4F, Tornadoes, Harrier GR3, he's got the 2 cards of GR91s. Like, this was an air strategy that I had no idea was coming. And my MiG-29 failing to kill the Tornado there and also getting shot down itself is really bad. So now I'm left on 2 MiG-29s. I've got pretty much no AA, and I'm going to be bringing in the like Afghanskis here just to try and like save the day. But his F4F coming in with the bombing strike there kills my supply that was resupplying the Thessaloniki BMD and fixing up my BMD2s. So really just keeping up the pressure here, Uncle Sam, really, really nicely. And yeah, and like it basically came down to, I think, the fact that I had no long range like radar AA. I couldn't make him pay for all of these strikes that he was doing. If I had like OSAs back here or Kubs or whatever, like I could be smashing his air force, and I would have definitely invested heavily into that. But the Iglas are unreliable and they're short range, so that's why I wasn't really buying them very much. And I was really crutching on my MiG-29s when I should have been bringing in the Iglas anyway, because in this sort of case where his Tornado goes really deep into my lines, that's where the Iglas can really punish aircraft. So here the Afghansky and the Skuzet's going to be stopping and engaging the Tornado, and he's almost going to get punished for that, but going to be getting away with it. Again, no Iglas on the front line. But that's why I'm now finally bringing in an Igla and the Afghansky there. Su-25 also tried to be cheeky and catch out that unit. Almost lost my Mi-24V when I just brought it in, so I'm going to be moving that back to get it fixed up. My Nonna's continuing to try and harass his CV position here. Yeah, it was a rough game so far, and on the right hand side I'm only barely hanging on. Like, if he makes a little push here, you know, I'm kind of screwed. On the left side, I've lost a lot of value. Simple as that. He's really, really done well with his aircraft to punish my lack of AA, which is kind of something that's just a staple of the 35th. And just like I did to him in game 1 with the 11th parachutiste, he's doing the same to me in game 3 here in this best of 5. Really just going to work with all of the aircraft. Su-25 just hanging about, acting as my air-to-air in this case. Quite amusing. Now, what I should have done with these Nonnas is killed off this Jaeger squad, and I should have been focusing the leaders here. Like, these Nonnas kind of wasted so much ammo just trying to fire at his command position, when I should have been using the Nonnas to chip his infantry instead. We have a bunch of UAZs going to be on the way. BMD2s, Spetsnaz OP for the left side. Got a T-64BV, Afghansky, kind of just building up a push that I can try and take back my good position that I had in Alpha. But the F4F coming in with the bombing strike. Misses the Afghansky. Going to run straight into the Su-25 and the MiG-29. Meanwhile, BMD-2 does get taken out by the GR-91. Going to be shooting that one down as well. He finally committed with the aircraft, lost both of them. Very, very happy with that engagement, losing one BMD-2 for it. Now the Pioneers going to be engaging my infantry and my UAZ here. He's pushing in with a couple of M48s and the Marder 1A3. My leader's going to have to do a little bit of a runner. T-64BV going in close. This is a perfect position for my SPG-9s to be in. They can get line of sight. I can take out those M48s and stuff very quickly, although it seems like my Spetsnaz OP did the job for me. Took out the Marder, took out the two M48s. Now we've got another F4F coming in with the bombing strike. Does find my command. And, well, the GR-91 actually shooting down my Su-25. It crashes into my own units, and yeah, I shoot down this GR-91 as well, but pretty devastating engagement on both sides. There's so much going on all at once. My SPGs, though, getting into a good position, and I did kill a lot of his stuff here. So it's not too bad, just going to be reinforcing with more BMDs, more Desarniki. Trying to move around the flank here. I just need to get the command back as soon as possible because he's counting the +2 again. We got 20 minutes and 35 seconds left on the clock. Going to be bringing in more of the SPG-9s. If I can get like a critical mass of SPGs, we can push through very aggressively. I'm just going to need the recon. I didn't manage to smoke my BMD in time, so that goes down. A little bit unfortunate. Really just got to get some eyes in here so that I can see the enemy units on the far side. That way my T-64 can become a bit more useful. We're going to be losing two of my BMDs there. I believe one actually had infantry in it, so that was really, really bad. Especially at this point where I'm behind, generally, in the engagements. It's pretty awful to lose a unit in its transport like that. So the SPG-9 is going to be making a move to the left side with the T-64BV. Desarniki move up, find a couple of these Fallschirmjäger units, and that's the scary AT that I really do not want to be jumping into. The Fallschirmjäger, they have like a really high AP Panzerfaust, 21 penetration at 675 meter range with 60% accuracy. So it's a pretty reliable AT. He's going to be able to take out my Afghansky there. He takes out a bunch of my SPGs. The Striker actually kills another of my SPGs, and yeah, this push just really goes to shit very quickly, to put it simply. It was really, really bad. My recon has finally arrived, my Mi-24K. Hoping that maybe I can get some rockets on target here with this to kill some of the enemy infantry whilst also providing me with some recon. I'm going to be bringing up some Spetsnaz group. Ideally, I should have brought up the Spetsnaz group before I made the push, and in hindsight that would have been the better play. But alas, I was very overzealous in this game. I think in general there were a lot of times where I made plays preemptively, like on the right hand side here, just like wasting all the Desarniki Metis by running them across the open. On the left side here, I'm obviously pushing too soon. Like I could have easily waited for all my BMDs to arrive and the extra SPG-9s. Like there was no real rush for me to push forwards. Like at the end of the day, he's only got a +2 and we got 20 minutes left in the game. So yeah, it's very difficult at the moment. I've just got to see if I can break down what he has and get another command in here and then eventually dislodge one of his commands so that I can then take the point lead by the end of the game. But I'm going to have my Mi-24V here engaged by the Fliegfaust. I'm going to force back my Mi-24 for the time being. BMD-2s do take out the Fallschirmjäger Aufteiler, which was good. Takes away some of his recon. And the Spetsnaz are arriving with their recon capability. And also, they're pretty good at fighting at close range. So this is going to be my solution to breaking through the buildings here and just dislodging his Fallschirmjäger, pretty much. At the moment, he's got his Fallschirmjäger just like sitting behind the building because he didn't want them to be in the building getting spotted. But in this case, it allows me to pin them down before they get back in. And so I get a free Fallschirmjäger kill. The Mi-24 on this side is going to take out the other Fallschirmjäger. I do lose a BMD-2 on the right-hand side to his HGM. And we are going to be losing the BMD-2 in the middle here to a 2A3. Striker. It's going to get a third shot off. And that Striker, whilst I do manage to kill it, killed 3 of my BMDs. That was really bad. Now with the Leopard 2A3s finally on the field, it is going to make my life difficult because I'd already used quite a lot of my T64s at this point. So I'm going to have to be kind of careful moving forwards. I was hoping that maybe I could screen my T64 BB with the SPG9s and then get a really good engagement in that way. That was kind of the plan. But I've really got to get rid of this Fallschirmjäger first. And we've got to clean out the rest of the infantry in this building. And with his artillery coming in, it's making it very difficult. But my triple Spetsnaz screw now going to be coming in. I'm going to be selling off my MI2s, bringing in some MI8 MTs. The Mi-24 here. Already hit by 2 Fliegerfaust. I probably should have not got greedy and send that back to be repaired. I do lose my infantry on that right side in the meantime. So Gepard ends up moving forwards here. Gepard 1A1. And the Mi-24V trying to get it to move away. Yeah, T64 in the meantime moving up on the left side. He's going to be able to get the last little bit of damage in there. Yeah, I didn't end up trying to move that way in the end. I think I didn't notice that was happening because I was focused on this one and also the engagements over here. But yeah, the double Spetsnaz ripping through infantry. Lovely stuff. At least I'm managing to kind of make some ground back into this compound. And I have now brought up another leader to contest the sector. So double Afghansky, double Spetsnaz crew, 2 Mi-8s on the way, got a MiG-25 hanging about. And this is my big old Seed aircraft. Now these things are great because they've got 65% accuracy with 4 anti-radar missiles, so they're pretty good in that regard. They've also got 40% ECM, so they're very hard to hit. He's brought in the Tornado and the Harrier GR3. I bring in the MiG. We're going to be taking down the Harrier. And then the MiG-29's going to come over, or MiG-25, sorry, coming over. Unfortunately misses its first shot against the Gepard. Classic. But this is what the 35th is all about. The air dominance. So I've got the, either by helicopters or by actual aircraft. So we've got the Mi-8 supporting my Spetsnaz as they push forwards. And I am making some decent ground back into this sector. MiG-25 for now is going to be leaving. That Striker, that's got to go. I was really surprised that, like, to see these. This isn't a unit that I would usually count on seeing, but they did quite a decent job throughout this game. My Nonna's now coming in there to engage it and push it out of position, but my T64 in the meantime did go down. I think it got killed by a combination of the Striker and the Leopard 2A3, which was unfortunate. And this Mi-8T is going to run out of rockets before it can kill the Striker, so that sucks as well. Anyway, Spetsnaz now moving through. I know that the 2A3 is there. The Striker finally goes down to the artillery. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, the Jaeger's pushing forward. The Scorpions come through the mid. And yeah, I'm just kind of in a bit of a rough situation still. Especially with no heavy tanks on this side. It's going to be very difficult for me to deal with the Leopards. Because in the front armor, the Spetsnaz is not going to be doing that much damage with that launcher. And my 24 going to be dealing with that for me. So that's okay. Mi-24 saving the day so far, but check out this push. He's definitely built it up. And my Spetsnaz OP, able to kill at least one of the M48s at least, hoping to kill the Marder as well. Unfortunately going to be missing that shot. I did target my Mi-24 to make sure that it tried to kill the Fliegerfaust sooner than later. MiG-25 hanging about, looking for enemy Gepards potentially, because we do see the Gepard moving in the middle. Tornado, going to be focusing on that instead of the Mi-24, which is fine by me. Unfortunately though, it is going to get shot down. Screzet further back is going to get some free shots off. My MiG-29 should have been coming in right now to engage that, but I was definitely busy focusing on the engagement with the Mi-8 MTs. I can just kill off the Fliegerfaust, and the Mi-8s are pretty much free to kill all of the Jaegers and stuff here. My Spetsnaz does get briefly spotted on the backside of the sector. Tornado shoots down my Mi-8. Yeah, that's a really big mistake not bringing in the MiG-29 here. And now the Gepard, since my MiG-25 had got shot down, I'm going to be losing that as well. Yeah, just a lot of mistakes there, all in a row. And now these Spetsnaz trying to stay out of the artillery that's swiftly coming in straight afterwards. Tijolungs still hanging around. I gotta get rid of those. So Mi-24 trying to do its best. Get some rockets on target. Pin that down. Take them out. Hold this sector at all costs. 10 minutes 40 seconds left on the clock, and whilst I have kind of regained a decent position on the left side, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to find and get rid of his command. My T-64 also doing a terrible job of killing that Gepard. Missing that shot, getting hit by the HGM. Forced back. Down to 1 health here. Probably should have smoked. It might not have had smoke, I don't know. But either way, should have smoked. And I should have been probably using smoke more with the Nonnas in general. And the Iltis missing its first Conquer's shot means that the unit that was carrying got into its building in time, and then the Conquer's UAZ gets taken out, so that sucked. His artillery now coming in for the Spetsnaz. But he doesn't manage to kill it, and it's just going to be hanging out there for the time being. These Spetsnaz now moving forwards, going to be finding myself some Jaeger there. I just don't really have much to follow it up. So what I decided to do in the end was, since I've got the 2 BMD2s here, I've got the T-64, I'm going to be trying to like push around on this left hand side, get to the Scorpion, and then push into the back side of these tree lines, because I know that he's got a command here. So that's what I'm going to be trying to take out in order to get back the +2 in my favour. Spetsnaz are going to be able to take out this this M48 as it pushes forwards, but artillery comes in swiftly afterwards and takes out the leader. Mi-8 here is to fix up the T-64. We're going to be landing that, driving the T-64 forwards. Meanwhile, over here, the Mi-24 moving forwards to support the Spetsnaz. Let's take the Jaeger down a couple notches at least before the Gepard gets the kill, so that wasn't too bad. And I've got the Nonnas already on target once again. The T-64Bs now going to be rolling up to help with the push once again. Another of my BMD2s dying on the left side though. To the HGMs. Yeah, in general, things not looking great, because obviously I've lost control of this right side completely. He's managed to get a couple of Fliegerfaust in here, takes out my supply. It was fixing up the T-64 BV, so that's not even fully fixed up now. I'm going to end up rerouting both of my T-64Bs that were heading to the left to the right. I'm going to briefly spot his M577 GO2, but the Leopard 2A3 is forcing me to smoke off the T-64. And that's a kind of a rough engagement. The Leopard 2A3 definitely has the advantage against the T-64. I was really, really hoping here that my Spetsnaz could kill the Jaeger, because then they can kind of move forwards and engage with the RPG-27 onto the M577. His artillery coming in trying to counter snipe my command, but I've got my command a little bit further forwards this time, just to make sure that doesn't happen. Unfortunately, the Spetsnaz do lose out, and yeah, kind of left in a bit of a rough position. The Afghansky is going to be moving forwards to try and finish that off. Meanwhile, in the middle, the Leopard 2A3 engaging my T-64 BV. Conquers, though, with the T-64s, doing a good job. Now the 2A3 on the right, though, got to deal with that as well. And HGEM's coming in onto the T-64B. I am going to lose it. This BV now moving in as well. Managed to get a good hit in. Take it down to half health. He's going to be smoking it off. Meanwhile, HGEM slaps my T-64B. Again, lacking the use of smoke here. Like, I did manage to smoke off this one, but this one's now track broken, so the smoke's probably going to go away before that can recover. Very, very difficult position I find myself in with 6 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. He's dug himself in nicely here with all these Citadons, Pioneers. He's got the Flakerfaust here. My Conquer's trying its best to kill this 2A3 at least, and if I can kill that, then maybe, just maybe, I can start to push my T-64s across the open. But another Milan 2 is unloaded, and it's going to make it very, very difficult. I've got to get a command back in here, just to stop the +2, and then I've still got to find a way to get a +2 myself in order to win the game. So, things, yeah, as I mentioned, looking pretty bleak. I jumped the Desarniki back into the BMD2 here, so that the Citadons and Pioneers couldn't engage them. A little bit of a cheeky micro there, saving my infantry. Mi-24 gonna get shot down by the Gepard in the middle. I do bring in the MiG-25 to try and take that out. He is gonna turn it off in the meantime. So, nicely done. This is why, like, generally, I don't focus on using seed all that much, because it is quite, I wouldn't say it's easy to micro, but it's definitely, like, I don't know how to put it. You can kind of cheese the seed, like when I could just be using artillery really to try and take that out, like harass them with the nonners or something. Yeah, this MiG-25's on 1 health. The reason I kept it about is because I was like, oh, it's pretty much, you know, the end of the game anyway. And the MiG-29, or the MiG-25 in this case, is just here to kind of open up any play with helicopters rather than any aircraft, because I think I'd lost most of my Su-25s at this point. But with that going down, I'm just going to make a push across the open here. Just kind of like a last-ditch effort, see if I can make any ground whilst I countercap the right side. But the HGEM's going to be coming in hot, and I'm going to be dropping the smoke. I'm going to be driving through the smoke with the one on the left because it's still got some health. Takes out the striker. Going to get hit by the Leopard 2A3 though. Leopard 2A3 on the right that didn't die earlier kills my T-64 here. This one's down to 4 health. It's down to 1 health. This fresh 2A3 basically just stopped me in my tracks. And the Conquer's there doing a solid 1 damage in the front armor. And if I can't make any play across here now, and with the artillery coming in for the Spetsnaz Komroti, I'm forced out of that sector again. Things are not looking good. I'm going to be trying to kill this Milan 2 out in the open, but the Afghansky's going to go down the left. Yeah, no chance at this point. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock. I'm going to take the surrender. And that's going to be 36 minutes, 40 seconds. He's going to win the 3rd game. So we have a series on our hands. 7,485 kills to 6,555 losses. Nice job by Uncle Sam there. Ajoor managing to get a win using the 2nd Panzergren. And yeah, in hindsight, I completely counted myself with my pick. I was tempted to pick the 79th again for Vertigo because it's a nice open range map, but when I looked through like the 2nd Panzergren, I was confident in using the 35th, but I just didn't really appreciate the amount of aircraft that he could bring in. and how much damage that would do to me, because he traded extremely well. And whilst my MiG-29s in a lot of cases did manage to find kills, it was like too little too late in a lot of cases, because the strike aircraft had already done their damage. And yeah, my ground forces were just in disarray. So if we go like right down to the bottom, we'll see that like the rocket GR91 here taking out 2 Thessaloniki Metis and the BMD2. This one taking out 2 Thessaloniki Metis. That Marder 1A3 on the right hand side did a fantastic job, but this GR3 Harriet taking out the Su-25 and one of my Mi-8s. The Tornado not dying in that first engagement head on against the Su-25 was really sad, because that came back with a vengeance. The F4F bombing strikes did fantastically well. Like killing the supply was like super important on the left side, because it was fixing up 2 of my BMDs and my infantry squads. Taking that out whilst also killing extra units with that bombing strike was super important. And the Leopard 2A3s finally came and kind of sealed the deal here. So yeah, it was rough. It was really rough. If I had just any decent radar missile AA, I think that could have been a very different game. But alas, a nice pick by Ajoor with the 2nd Panzergren took me off guard completely and takes a victory for himself. And with that, we'll be moving on to a game 4 in this best of 5 of the semi-final of the WARNO League Season 0 Division 2. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to it. That's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.